I want to continue this discussion as we look more, I suppose, at the bigger picture of it all. The left's attacks on parental rights is really part of a broader assault. It's an assault against anyone who holds conservative or Judeo-Christian values. The left believes, quite frankly, that conservative Christians are not fit for political office. For goodness sakes, for that matter, they don't even believe we're fit to be parents. And we need to push back on all of this. Just as we saw in Marietta, there in California with Nick Pardue, every single person matters. Every parent matters in this particular fight that we're involved with. And the left wants believers to stay on the sidelines. They want you to think that you really don't matter. But history shows that it only takes one person to spark an enormous change, a movement. Well, joining me now to unpack this some more is Meg Kilgannon. She's FRC's Senior Fellow for Education Studies. She served in the U.S. Department of Education under the Trump administration. Meg, thank you so much for joining me again today. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Jody.
It's always a privilege. All right, let's first of all, let me get your thoughts on what we just saw coming out of Marietta, California, as well as Chino Valley. It's good news.
Well, just, big thank you to Mr. Pardue for running for office. He is an example of the one person that vote was a 3-2 vote. And so if he hadn't been on that school board, it might not have gone that way. And so parents all across the country owe a debt of gratitude to people like Mr. Pardue, who is willing to stand in the gap for our kids. It is really, really wonderful to see, and we're really grateful.
And you bring up a great point, Meg, because as people like Nick Pardue and Sonia, we're seeing people step up to the plate all across the country right now. Particularly, it seems like school boards. We're seeing a school board step up for parental rights. They're being threatened across the country, but they're stepping up to the plate. And it's not just school boards, though. It's across the board. I know there's a story right now I think you're familiar with it, of a couple in Massachusetts, a Catholic couple, who have been banned from adopting children because of their religious faith. Can you bring us up to speed on that case?
You wonder if the Boston foster care system is in collusion with the FBI agents who are investigating Catholic churches. I don't know. I mean, it's not just to invent another conspiracy theory live on the air, but it seems like a theme, doesn't it? That Christians just aren't fit for public life, apparently. We're the first to be shut down during the pandemic, and this couple, who's a lovely couple, the husband has served our country overseas in the military. His wife is a special needs teacher. So she is, very capable of dealing with the challenges that foster children often bring with them into the homes who foster them. And they have a loving home. It seemed like from what I read, they may be unable to have their own children. And so they are opening their hearts to the possibility of being a foster parent. And that is such a generous and good thing to do. And they are just one couple who is trying to make a difference in their community, right? And so for the state of Massachusetts to not want to use their help when they have thousands of children who need homes in the foster care system in Massachusetts, the system is in such crisis that they're housing these children in hospitals at times because they don't have enough homes for the foster children who are in need. It beggars belief that a Christian couple would not be allowed to be a foster parent because of their views on marriage and human sexuality, which are probably not even going to be an issue with the child that they receive from it or that they serve in the foster care community. So this, parents being shut out in the school system and now parents being shut out in the foster care system, this is a time for Christians to insert themselves into the process rather than shrinking back. And I'm grateful that this couple is suing.
I am too. And you bring up a good point. I mean, it's across the board. I mean, we're watching the baker, Jack Phillips comes to mind, Lori Smith. We're watching all across the country where people who have a Judeo-Christian foundation are being canceled, being pushed out of society, marginalized. And yet, as we push back, we usually win as we push out. And it only takes, as you've brought up a couple of times, one person. I think that's a great thing. And it fits perfectly with what we were talking about a little while ago with the one person campaign that actually is happening here at FRC. But we've got about a minute or so left. Meg, why don't you just jump on that? The importance of one person. You talked about Nick, the vote 3-2 last night. Just kind of give us a moment about that.
Well, so often in the world, it is they always say the first people through the wall are bloodied, right? When you're the first one to do something, and sometimes you are the only one, you're the first one to do it. And it's a hard thing to do. But when you make that hole in the wall, other people follow you through that hole in the wall. And so it is just one person maybe that makes that first step, but you are going to be supported by a bunch of other people behind you who will. Courage is contagious, and they will follow your lead. So our listeners are such wonderful prayer warriors and activists. And I hope that everyone is considering, is praying for our schools. It's back to school season, but also praying about what they can do in their community to support the schools and to engage on the behalf of children who need our Christian witness more than ever before.
Absolutely. Well, Meg Kilgannon, I want to thank you for coming on the program this evening and the incredible work you do and the knowledge, the input that you bring to the program every time you're on. God bless you, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Jody.